Can you hear me? Yes, you can. Okay. I believe. Anyway, so it's probably going to get really loud today, you guys, and I'm really sorry about that. But I think what?
Oh, I can't hear you all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's just going to be how it is here. Oh, yeah, Vince is here today. Wave to the folks. Vince, they can see you. Turn around. Look at me.
Which direction do I? Oh, okay. I got confused.
Where do I wave?
Can they hear you? Oh.
Yeah, okay. Mute that.
Sorry,
what are you doing?
player muted.
Yeah, so just know that when I'm broadcasting here, which I'm going to be doing on the reg, it's just going to be noisy from time to time. But they're actually done with construction now. Yay! So I can start cleaning this week, which is exciting because everything in here is so dusty. It looks like it's been sitting unattended for like years. And it's not that. Like, let's see, just my printer. Can you see the gunk on my finger just from touching my printer? So I'm really looking forward to cleaning up. No country music today, not yet. Anyway, we'll see. Okay. So, what do we want to paint today? What's on my easel? So, I don't know that I love that. I mean, there's things that I really like about it, but I don't know that it doesn't feel like me. It doesn't feel like my style. So I'm not sure where it came from, but I did record it. So I plan on at least giving you guys like a version of it like I did with the last one where I was, excuse me, where I was painting with my hand. So I will get you a version of that, whether it has instruction or not. I don't know. We'll see how it goes as I'm editing it, and I decide how the video looks. But I will get you a version of that. Hello to everybody who's here, everybody I said hello to, everybody I missed saying hello to. I'm super glad that you're all here with us. Oh yeah, and 2 years ago today, many of us here were at the retreat here in Ogden. So that was a lot of fun, and I can't believe in some way it feels like it was 10 years ago, and in some ways it feels like it was 6 months ago. So
6 days.
And 6 days ago.
Still recovering.
I am still recovering. And yeah, I'm really sorry. My throat is so dry today. So if I'm clearing my throat a lot, I apologize. I'll try and keep it down. So I went shopping yesterday, got me a new little wheelie cart. Check that out. Woohoo! I plan on mostly keeping my watercolor stuff in here, but it's really convenient for this too. So I'll be using that. Vince is sitting at this little table that I got, because sometimes I want like a flat work surface where I can sit and like do watercolor or something. This desk is taken up with my computer. That work surface is not big enough, and quite often it's very messy. So I'm excited to have a little place where I can sit to work now too. And I got a coat hook, yay! Now I don't have to throw my coat over my chair. So, they have these carts at Michael's, these little metal ones. I got this one at IKEA for $19. So, not too bad. Anyway, excuse me, guys. Over here on my, there we go. Over here on my easel, look at this. I'm going to do this legit today. We're not painting flat with the glare and everything. I have my Fredrix canvas pad. I haven't prepped it in any way, and I really don't know what I want to do. Wait, that's not entirely true. I have a hint of an idea. Simply because there's a color combination that I'm in love with that I want to show you guys. And my color mixing pals, you will like this. Okay, so let me grab those colors real quick. And yeah, I'm still thinking. I'll ask for your input as we go along today. Look, all my paints are over here on my wall. I know exactly where they are. I don't have to search for them. I don't feel like it was ultramarine. What was it? Was it Prussian? No, it was ultramarine. Yeah. And Payne's Gray. I'm pretty sure these are my colors. Okay. Ugh. Again, so since I'm painting, sometimes it's hard for me to keep an eye on chat. So if you have a question, put it in all caps so that I can see that if I just happen to glance over. And if I miss it, when you know I'm looking at the camera, say it again. Or Vince is here too, so Vince can help.
I'm playing video games.
You're playing video
I'm
games.
just kidding.
If I'm missing questions, you don't have to read me off all the questions, but if I miss something, let me know. So I'm going to start out with, oh, hello. Focus. Yellow oxide. Ultramarine. Whoa, where are we? Hello. Okay, take my word for it, that's ultramarine. And Payne's Gray. Just take my word for it that that's also Payne's Gray. So what have you guys been up to? Everybody's been using Discord. That's really exciting. I'm glad that you guys have been using that. When I first set up Discord, I thought, I wonder if this is going to be one of those things where, hello, Christine. I was worried that Discord would be one of those things where, you know, we kind of use it for a few minutes and then we're like, well, that was fun. And then we just don't use it anymore. So I was really excited that you guys keep using it. Every time I go over there, there's somebody in there chatting and that's exciting. You can't figure what out.
I think she was talking about how
There we go.
somebody, Tammy, tagged her in a comment here in the chat.
Oh, in this chat? Yeah, I'm not sure. I see sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know what the difference is. So I think we've used this color before, but for what I want to use it for, I felt like it was really exciting. So I'm going to share that with you guys. And I'm using white. And I have a little idea, and then I'm going to ask you guys for help as we go. So I'm using my 1-inch flat brush. Let me get a paper towel. Whoa, Sue's got 3 of the haunted house paintings going. Wow. Oh, Charlotte hasn't painted in over a week. Hello, Clarissa, welcome. Oh, you're using these same colors right now, Tammy? That's exciting. And let's use some matte medium. Because I've been painting with my hands so much lately, I may accidentally start doing that today. But I can't really do like straight hand paintings like in that video because I have to dry the layers perfectly in between each of them. So it's not something that I can really just do, you know, live like that. So I'll mix those two, just kind of evenly. And some Payne's Gray. Maybe I'm gonna throw a little extra yellow in there so it's not quite so blue. Get it a little bit stormy. A little bit of white. A little bit of matte medium. And, oh, hey, Vince,
Yeah.
can you grab me that gallon of gesso? And,
This one?
yeah. So these easels, if you guys are looking at an aluminum easel like this, like you see me use, know that they are very rickety and they fall all over the place, and as you paint on them, they wobble. So I keep this gallon jug of gesso on the bottom of my easel because it helps keep it in place a little bit better. All right. So I'm just gonna start with this color. I did a painting last week that actually it was absolute junk. It wasn't worth showing you. But I used this color combination in it for the sky, and I really liked that. Gotta use a little extra white though, because it's really transparent without it. So guys, start giving me ideas of what we should do on this. I know that I want this to be a sky, and I may put a moon in it, I may not. So give me some ideas. And if you can't see very well for some reason, whether it's my lighting or camera angle or whatever, let me know. A haunted forest. A scarecrow, nice.
I was thinking myself if I could, something with fall leaves.
Something with fall
We
leaves.
have a lot of them right now.
Yeah, our leaves are finally changing color and starting to fall here. It's a little late for us. Usually by now everything's like well on its way to becoming quite bare, but not so far this year. How's that color? Oh yeah, that color looks really good on there. The lighting is nice. I love how stormy and moody this color is. So let me ask you guys, while I'm just here painting and not interacting in chat, I told you that I'm working on like a lesson plan for in-person classes. And by in-person classes, I mean like actually learning how to paint, not learning how to make a painting. Although obviously there would be some of that in there as well. If I were to open that up, and if you were to consider coming here to do a class, how, like what do you think would be a good kind of time frame? Because like I'm thinking maybe like a 3-day class that's, you know, somewhere between 5 and 8 hours per day. I know that's really broad, but I'm just trying to nail down what it is that I want to do. So do you guys think that if you wanted to come here for that, and do you think that like actual classroom style situation would be too long for 3 days for that many hours a day? Or do you think that sounds good? It would be here in Ogden where I am. Asen, I may offer some of it online because I know there's some people who wouldn't be able to travel. So online is definitely something I'm considering for the future. But immediately I'm looking at starting to do real classes, in-person classes. It wouldn't be like the retreat that we did. It would be, you know, like I would probably have a couple of different ones. So if I had like an absolute beginner class, you guys would probably not want to come to that because I'd be like, this is a paintbrush. this is the bristles. And you guys would probably be like, I can't believe I paid for this. But, you know, if I had different classes that were more geared toward like advanced color theory or advanced, you know, whatever, then that might be something you guys would be a little more interested in.
Lots of votes for online.
Lots of votes for online, huh?
It's split, online and traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Eileen asked how many maximum would you be?
I would be looking at doing, so somebody asked how many people would I be looking to fit into a class. I'm looking at small classes, probably 5 to, I go back and forth between 10 and 20. 20 seems quite large to me right now, so maybe between 5 and 15, we'll say. So not huge classes, actual, you know, like classroom size classes.
But you have no idea on cost.
I don't know on cost. That's something I'm still trying to figure out. It would depend on, you know, things like what is it that I'm offering you guys? Like, what am I providing for you?
You have them in here in this space right here?
I would have people in this space where I am as long as it was only a couple of people.
Yeah.
You know, the larger classes, once we got up to like 5 people, then I would move it into a different location in this same building, because there's lots of areas that I can do that here in this building.
Would you have to pay for those additional places? Because I would imagine that would impact the cost, right?
No.
Okay.
When would they start happening? My goal for that is January, because I'm still working on my lesson plan right now. I've got like 4 pages of outlining done. So, I mean, it's something I'm working on right now. And yeah, but I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, well, how many days is enough? How many days is too many? You know, things like that. So, yeah, you guys clearly wouldn't want to come in January, but there's a lot of local people here who would want to come. I get asked if I do classes all the time. So, you know, my focus isn't just on, you know, bringing out-of-state people in, though you would absolutely be welcome. My focus really would be on just providing them for whoever is able to come. So, oh, Tammy, are you asking a question?
Yeah, she asked if you make them a little painted darker just by adding Payne's gray.
Hang on, let me change my chat thing. Yeah, if I'm not seeing your question, pop it into caps. Yeah, I just added less white, actually, to make it darker. So I tried to keep it a fairly consistent mixture of the 3 colors all the way down, but I just added less white at the bottom. Bye, Atra. I'm glad you got to come by for a minute. Okay. So, we like a haunted forest idea, huh? I like a haunted forest idea. Do we want a moon? Should we do a moon? Clarissa would come? Yes.
Yes, we have some pleases for moon.
Yes for moons?
Yes.
Okay.
We have,
All right. I'm going to go with my 5/8 inch filbert. It's starting to fuzz. It's starting to get fuzzbert. Let's see. I don't know if you can see. Oh, look. You can see it's starting to happen. I've been scrubbing with that bad boy. Okay. So some water. Where'd my paint go? There it is. And
so more vote for falling in the trees.
okay. I'm just getting white. This canvas is still pretty wet, and I'm going to put it about on this 1/3 mark right here. And I'm going to freehand it. Somebody what?
Saw a stormy sea.
Don't laugh at my ridiculous lopsided moon just yet. I know he's silly looking, but if you make small corrections and you're patient with yourself, you can make a circle, even if you think you can't. I told you to get on the internet here, but now I can't give you the password because I'm broadcasting and I have to look it up. I don't know what the password is.
I just didn't want to slow you down. Didn't want to give any reason for the internet to slow down.
No, it's fine. Now that I'm in here where I've got a little bit more room, one thing I want to do is I have a TV, like a little TV that I used to, a long time ago, I used to have it hooked up to my camera so that I could, you know, watch the painting in a disconnected way through the camera. And you know how I'm always telling you guys, like, take a picture with your phone or whatever so that you can get an idea for what your painting looks like. And you know that whenever we're doing this, a lot of times I'm painting and not looking at my canvas. I'm looking at the computer to see how it's going. So it's the same kind of idea. So I need to get that TV in here because I've found myself recording even when I know that I'm not going to do anything with it, simply because then my camera's right there and I can look at my camera to see how it's coming. Does that look about even? Is that straight? That looks a little bit better. Hello, Lindsay. All right, I'm gonna get a little bit more of this gray color. I need more panes. Oh, you guys would be so proud of me. Well, either proud or irritated. You might be irritated with me. I bought some paint the other day that was not Liquitex paint. Can you believe it? I bought some Utrecht paint. I was at the Blick store in Salt Lake and bought a few tubes of the Utrecht paint. Because if you guys remember when I painted with my friend Will, he had those colors that were so beautiful and I wanted to experiment with them too. So I grabbed those colors that he was using and a couple others. And so far they're pretty good. So this is just that same color as I used on the background. I mixed it up kind of dark because I know I'm blending into white and it would get lighter anyway because this white is all still wet. See, it's still wet. I just smeared it. And you see why my filbert's getting a little fuzzbert look to him.
Ooh, that looks like the one above the stormy sea. Like somebody.
Are you saying that, Vince?
Yeah, no, I'm saying that. I agree. It looks like a stormy sea.
So now Vince and someone else in chat said a moon over a stormy sea. It does kind of look like that. I wish that I were better at... Pat said it. I wish I were better at painting water, like oceans. What?
Kathy was commenting on the music.
Oh,
Pretty Woman's much better than country.
you guys can hear what song is playing. That's funny.
Before that, it was Comfortably Numb.
I did hear the Pink Floyd that was playing. Oh, that's not too bad. Oh, this is also Pink Floyd that's playing. Anyway, I promise I won't just talk about the music all day. See, I'm watching here because when I'm looking at it right here, I can see that line right there, but when I touch that line, I'm going to see the other mark that was made and I might overwork it. But all I want to do is break up that line. So I'm watching on my computer and I'm just going to, there. And that is what I want it to look like. And then I don't have to overwork it. And now I see there's like a creepy little face here. Do you guys see that? Looks it looks like a spooky guy in sunglasses. I don't think I'm going to do a ton to this moon. I don't want to get too overboard with it. Well, that's too dark. So I'm just scattering some of it almost randomly, and then I'll just break up lines. That way I don't get polka dots in my moon. So I will be asking you guys more soon about the, you know, what you think about the different things that I come up with for the classes. So that's something we'll talk about more as we go. And I'm glad that you guys, so many people, you know, voted for online, because it is something that I've wanted to do. I've thought about, you know, making it available online. I would probably do it through Vimeo, and you know, you would just like sign up and pay for it, and then that would unlock the Vimeo videos. Vimeo is essentially like YouTube. You don't have to have a Vimeo account to see any of those. This is just a much darker version of the color, and I'm just gonna kind of bounce in a couple of spots that are a little bit darker. I don't think that's looking too bad. What do you guys think? Okay.
I thought, I think you mentioned that you thought of doing a survey online.
Yeah, we can do an online survey. I mean,
And
I don't know. We'll see.
does Vimeo have chat?
Vimeo does not have chat. It's essentially, I mean, it does, but
Well, yeah,
I would have to pay like $100 a month to have that feature, and I'm not going to pay $100 a month. No, if I did it online in videos, it would be pre-recorded, and then you would just watch it whenever you could. I just wiped my brush on a paper towel. I just wiped it off. I didn't clean it. Picked up a little matte medium and a little bit of white, and all I'm going to do is just make sure that there's some nice bright spots in here. I'm trying not to overwork it again. Just kind of breaking it in there. It's all about a light touch, you guys. I'm barely touching that. Like I said, it's just, I know I want white, let's say, right here. So I'm just gonna lay down some white. And then with really light touch, I'm just gonna kind of break it up and scatter it in places. Don't let it end up being polka dots. Don't overwork it. A little more white right there. Not too bad.
Did you make the moon with the same gray mixture as the background?
Yeah, the moon and the background, they're all the exact same color. I'm only just varying the amount of white that I put in. So the gray, I'm pretty much keeping it mostly Payne's gray, and the yellow oxide, it's just got a hint of that ultramarine in there because that dulls down the yellow really well. And then the darker areas, it's not more Payne's gray, it's just less white. Okay, that's all still pretty wet, so it's hard to get a nice bright white. So I'm gonna let it dry, and then we'll come back to it. So I'm gonna clean this off, and I'll come chat with you guys for a minute. Hello, Carolyn. Does anybody have any fun plans this weekend? You guys, right this minute, are my plans this weekend. This is the extent of my excitement for the weekend.
You're not taking me out dancing after this?
I'm not taking Vince out dancing after this because he dances like a fool. I don't want to be seen with that. I did freehand the moon. It's really, guys, I have faith in you. I know there's a lot of you who are like, I could never do that. But I have faith in you, and I know that you could. Being able to freehand a moon boils down to the same couple of things that I always tell you everything boils down to. Patience and practice. You know, if you have patience, you know, you saw my moon started out like all lumpy and weird and dumb. But I made small corrections, you know, and I had patience with it. And it's pretty round. I'm pretty happy with it. No, Mr. Moon is staying at home. This is Mama's time to herself here, usually.
Besides, he wouldn't survive an hour away from Olaf.
Oh yeah, Mr. Moon would be really sad if I made him come home and not hang out with Olaf all day. Practice and patience pay off. That's right, Lindsay. Oh, good. Sue's starting to get the tippy toe and the flat foot pressure. And so, Sue, is it just that the concepts are starting to make sense to you, or that you're finding that you're automatically knowing which pressure to use for anything? So I think most of you know, but we can just run over it real quick because there's probably somebody who doesn't know. So I always refer to really like 3 different pressures. So first there's like tippy toe. So that would be like that. There's half foot pressure, which is like that. And then flat foot pressure, which is like that. And it really doesn't matter what kind of a brush you're using. It's really gonna be the same for just about any brush and just about any technique. It's really gonna be the same type of thing. So when you go flat pressure like that, you're not really laying down any more paint. You're just kind of like blurring it. That's really how you're gonna get a blur in your paint. Half foot pressure like that is really more about laying paint down. It can blend, but it's not gonna be, you're not gonna get like a bunch of blur. It's gonna lay paint down. The tippy toe pressure is kind of for texture and, you know, breaking things up and scooting things around. But yeah, that's actually one of the things that I want to cover quite extensively in, you know, like the lesson plan that I'm writing, which this first lesson is more geared toward like brand new painters, people who have never really painted before. Oh, good, Clarissa. I'm glad you're enjoying those techniques too. Good, Sue. I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that. Let's see, that's starting to get pretty dry. Should we? I feel like that's a little darker in the sky than I really want around that moon. Let's try something. Back to my 5/8 inch. And I'm at medium. I'm gonna grab a tiny bit of this color, whatever I can get. It's not very much. I just don't want pure white. And white. See, it's mostly white. It's almost pure white. Very, very slightly gray. And I'm gonna mix a lot of matte medium in there. You can kind of see how transparent it is when I go over the bat. And I'm just taking it easy right here on the edge of the moon because the moon is still wet. And then I'm going to dust it out just so we can get like a little bit of a halo around the moon. See if that looks more like what I was wanting. Little matte medium just to blur that out a bit more. If you're gonna do something like this, like what I'm doing here, just make sure that your background is quite dry, because a little bit of matte medium can lift up paint that hasn't cured fully. So I'm having to be really careful because this paint, it's dry, but it's not cured. And I don't want it to lift it up.
Did I really sing
What?
Natural Woman at the retreat?
You did sing Natural Woman at the retreat 2 years ago. It was a very shameful experience for me.
It must have been for me too, because I forgot.
If you can't hear him, he said that it must have been a shameful experience for him too, because he doesn't remember doing that. That's not too bad. Let's go a little bit lighter around the moon itself. So I'm gonna get some white and just a little less matte medium so it's a little bit more opaque.
Is that mostly matte medium you're using?
It is mostly matte medium that I'm using. A little bit of white.
Does the hairdryer help with curling or just drying? Curing or just drying?
The hairdryer will not help with curing. That's interesting because I've actually had that question a couple times in the last week or so. The plastic in the paint needs time to, or the plastic in the binders needs time to, you know, do whatever it does. So curing and drying are two different things. You can have paint that is dry to the touch, but if you get it a little bit wet, you may lift it off of the canvas because it's not cured. So even if it's completely dry to the touch, you know, you still have to be careful, at least right off the bat. So I usually don't consider a painting to be cured until about 3 days after I paint it, and that's just like a normal application of paint. Which is why I don't recommend that you varnish until a painting is sat for at least 3 days. A lot of companies actually say to let a painting sit for a few days before you varnish it too, and I assume that's why, is because of the curing that needs to be done.
What's the name of the brush you're using?
This is the 5/8 inch filbert. When I go back, after I lay down that, all I'm picking up is matte medium. Not picking up more paint, because I don't want to take this white out any further. I don't want, you know, like, I don't want to obliterate the sky behind it and lose all of that color, and I don't want this big hard white line all the way around it. So I'm just kind of coming around, laying down some of that thin white, and then just picking up some matte medium and super light pressure to just kind of smear that out and break up any hard lines. That looks like junk right there, but we're gonna put some trees over it, so I don't care.
Is varnishing after a week fine?
Yeah, you can varnish after a week. Sometimes, a lot of times, I won't varnish my paintings until I sell them. It's purely out of laziness. Yeah, so I've had paintings that I varnished like a couple years later. My only advice with that is, you know, if a painting has sat for a while, before you varnish it, just take some kind of a cloth, not a paper towel, I don't recommend a paper towel, some kind of a cloth that doesn't have lint, and just very lightly wet that cloth and just wipe the painting down. Because you don't want to varnish any dust or like rogue cat hairs that you didn't see into there. So yeah, just kind of wipe it down a little before. Yeah, so Sue, if anybody who's not watching or not in chat, Sue asked if I wanted like an apparition in the painting, would I just use matte medium with small amounts of white? Yeah, and that's really like what I did in the haunted video, like with the little ghost that was in the window. I started with really, really thin, kind of a shadow color, a gray color. Super, super thin. It was mostly matte medium, and I did the whole outline of it, and then I did a little less matte medium and a little bit more paint, and slowly darkened up parts of it as it came forward. But yep, that's exactly it. Eileen said no need to wait if you're spray varnishing. To be on the safe side, I would, just because I don't want to trap any rogue moisture that might be there under the varnish. Because the varnish is a lot more water resistant than the paint is. So I don't know, that might just be me trying to be on the safe side, but I would just be worried about getting a little bit of moisture trapped under the varnish.
When would you use mixing white instead of white?
I don't know, I don't ever use mixing white. I used it a long, long time ago before I found matte medium. You're welcome, Sue. Okay. Should we do some fan brush trees? Who's afraid of the fan brush? Do we have people who are afraid of doing trees with a fan brush? Because if so, we're totally doing it. What would happen if you got water trapped under the varnish? I mean, I don't know. Maybe nothing. Worst case scenario, mold. Best case scenario, nothing. So I would just rather not risk it. Like I said, that could be me just being paranoid. I don't know. We have people afraid of the fan brush. We're doing it. Yeah, that's a good point, Debbie. You can use the mixing white to lighten a color without making it chalky. Titanium white can make colors look chalky sometimes when you lighten them. Donna's been practicing trees today. Nice. Well, let's do some fan brush trees. I'll zoom you in for this part. Here, I'm gonna do this so that I don't make you guys sick, moving the camera around while you're looking at it. I think that's good for now. The regular fan brush, not the Chewy Yuppie one, but the Chewy Yuppie one, I can demonstrate for you guys what I had this one made for, and if you think that's something that you'd be interested in, I can have it put into production. I've had this for a while now, and I just keep thinking, maybe not, but I like it. I was using it recently. Okay, fan brush. Wet it really good in the jar. Remember that your fan brush, while it's a nice narrow little brush, it holds a lot more water than you think. So I'm gonna take it and I'm just gonna touch it to the paper towel. I'm not, oh sorry, that's really over bright, isn't it? I'm not doing like this. I am doing that now. Don't do that, that's too dry. Let me re-wet it. So all I'm doing is just, where are you? I'm just gonna touch it like that. And that's it. Make sure there's no water on the ferrule, because that'll run down and all of a sudden you'll have a puddle. Okay, to load the fan brush, remember we squidge it. We squidge it back and forth. So I'm gonna grab my colors, just kind of get in there and grab the colors I want, and then squidge it back and forth. Flip it over, pull some more down, squidge it back and forth. I want a little more yellow in there than the blue though, so we'll just pull those in. I'm not going to bring any white into this mixture, and maybe I will lean just a little heavier onto the Payne's Gray. All right. If it starts looking a little dry, that looks a little dry to me. See the texture? I don't want to have quite that much texture. So I just barely dunked about 1/8 of an inch of the brush into the water and just mix that in there. All right. So for some pine trees, I'm going to start one over the top of the moon. I'm just going to kind of indicate where. Can you see that? You can't see that. Sorry, guys. 2 seconds. Okay. I'm just going to indicate where I want the tree trunk to be. I'm not trying to draw a trunk. I don't care what it looks like. I'm not putting pressure on my brush though. I'm just kind of scratching out a line. It doesn't have to be a solid line. I just want it to be as tall as I think I want the tree so that I can remember. I'm just going to make a few of those lines. Maybe I'll put one over here, kind of halfway between both of those shades, like height-wise. So pay attention to your heights. So I have this one as my tallest. I have this one, it's my shortest, and I have this one, it's about in between. So I've got my 3. Remember, things are a little more interesting in 3s, and they're all different heights. If you have them all be the same, it's gonna look kind of stiff. All right, now I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna start with just the corner. I'm not gonna do a lot of mushing. Don't get weird eyelashes, guys. Weird eyelashes come when you just take it and you go, and you just flatten it on there. So I'm gonna use the corner and I'm just gonna touch. See that? Now I'm gonna come in and I'm just gonna touch again. And as I go down, I can kind of start bringing it out a little bit farther. But it's just the corner of the brush. As I come down, I can start putting a little bit more pressure on the brush when I want it to be, you know, a little bit whiter. Leave some parts of it kind of blank. Flip my brush over occasionally to that helps avoid patterns, but also, you know, as you go, you're going to lose paint off of one side. So flip it over and you've got a little more paint on the other side. You still see? Okay. See a little heavier pressure there, but I'm not getting that weird eyelash shape. I'm still only pushing about half of the brush, and it's only bending about that much of it. I'm not flattening it out. It's getting a little dry.
Looks really good.
Thanks. A little more water. If it starts looking really blobby like that and kind of puffy, your brush is probably a little too dry. You want it to kind of look a little broken like that. I'm not going to worry about anything beyond that. Let's do another one. Do you guys have any questions on this? I don't know if I saw Pat's horse on Discord. Did I? I feel like I did. Pat, did I comment on it? If I didn't comment, I didn't see it. Okay, so here, we're going to do it again. Actually, let me pull just a little more panes into that. Okay. So remember, we just touch. So I've got like a little polka dot on the top of that tree now. Touch, that's a little blobby, but that's okay. See, now that I wasn't talking, I could do it a little quicker and in one go. Let's do this one now. Maybe this one will be a little different. I'll leave it a little more blank on the top than these other ones. What do you guys think? Yeah, you got to get a little bit of water if you want a nice shape. You don't want, like I said, the brush holds so much water. You don't want as much water as the brush automatically holds, but you don't want thick paint. Like I said, when you're squidging it, if you get texture, see how when I smush it, how you can still see all that texture from the brush? It's too dry. Let's see if you can tell how much I'm dipping it in the water, because I'm not like kerplunking it in the water. Just the very end. See that? About 1/8 of an inch. Still got some texture, a little bit more. That's better. Okay, let's do another little couple trees in here. We'll just give it the little, that's where the trunk is. Maybe there's another one here. Kerplunk, I didn't make that up. When I was a kid, I had a game called Kerplunk.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of it.
I loved Kerplunk. Tell me you guys remember Kerplunk. Let's do another one over here that is kind of going off of the edge. I'm still trying to look at all of the trees to make sure that they're all pretty much different heights. Let's see if I can zoom in just a little bit closer for this one. Whoa, sorry guys. Okay. It's just barely touch. Barely touch. Don't get heavy-handed with your fan brush. And don't be afraid of the fan brush. I think a lot of people are afraid of the fan brush because they think it looks so different from all the other brushes, so there must be something magic about it. Some, way that you have to use it that is you know, magical, for lack of a better word. I'll just keep saying magic. It's really not. The fan brush is just like any other brush. Yes, Janice remembers Kerplunk. It was the best. Debbie remembers it. Good. I'm glad that this is helping you, Donna. Whoa. I'm going to put you down just a little bit more. We'll do one more. We'll do a little one. Let me just reload. Let's see right here. Yeah, we'll do kind of a shorty. Okay, touch, touch. And see how every time I touch, I kind of change the position of my brush. And if I do a couple little blops in a row, then I'll flip it over to the other side. Just kind of go back and forth and let your tree be bald on one side, or, you know, whatever. There's the start of our little forest. Yay! Fan brushes are not magic. They can help you do magic, though. Let's do just a couple more. I'm going to grab a hint of white. Just a hint.
How do you keep the trees looking set with different shades?
No, the trees, they're all the same color. I think I just keep them looking separate because I don't put them right on top of each other. You know, there's about an inch or so in between each one. And overworking them will help make them look like one big mass. So don't overwork them. Now I did mix up a slightly different color. You can kind of tell next to that, it's lighter. I threw in a little bit more white, or I threw in a little bit of white and a little bit more yellow. So now I'm gonna do one, let's start it right about here. It's gonna be a really subtle difference because it's not crazy lighter, but it's just a little lighter. Let's maybe throw in just a little more white. Yeah, that's looking good. A little more white. Actually, I think I want to put a little bit more ultramarine in this. Maybe we'll get a couple of trees that lean a little bit more to the blue side. Thank you, Tammy. I'm glad that you guys are liking it. A wolf howling at the moon, that would be pretty awesome. I would absolutely make a free-handed wolf look ridiculous. So I'm probably not going to try that because I would feel really bad for any wolf that I just free-handed off the top of my head. You know, a circular moon is one thing, but I would definitely need a reference photo for that. Yeah, I like these little, you know, little different, slightly different shades. Yeah, what?
Mist rising from the lake.
Ooh, mist rising from a lake. That could be cool. Let's take a lighter one out this way. Maybe we'll do this one nice and small. We'll start getting some really small little trees over here. And then I'll show you how to do really small pine trees with a fan brush. I could not totally do it. Trust me, guys. I can't even picture what a wolf actually looks like. There's there's no way. Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate that. All right. Just one more little shorty guy in here. Let's get another light one. This little spot looks kind of empty and sad, doesn't it? But yeah, if you guys do this painting and somebody puts a wolf in there, I would love to see that, because I agree. I think that would look really, really awesome. Okay, oh, one more. No, yes. What am I doing? Should I? No. Let's do another version of a pine tree with a fan brush. We're going to do some little teeny distant ones, okay? So I'm just going to add a little more Payne's Gray into this, just darken it up a bit more. It's not going to be as dark as those first ones because there's some white in here, but that's okay. And I'm okay if there's a little bit of texture, but what I'm going to do after I loaded that, whoa, where are you? There you go. I'm going to go right onto the edge of the brush and just kind of punch it so that it kind of breaks it up just a little bit. And I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to kind of touch to get a feel for how much paint is being deposited. And I just kind of mush it and push down. It's just kind of like a little, it's just a very light mush. Almost like a little up and down zigzaggy thing, and that's creating some kind of distant pine trees there. I'm going to wipe this off. Let's get some darker ones in there too. Bye, Ashley. Okay. A very light mush, exactly. Okay, so the water again. Just mixing into that same thing, but trying to only pick up Payne's Gray. So we'll get some nice dark ones. And just mush enough to break it up a little. And we'll come in here and we'll add a few. Now, if all you have are those like soft fan brushes, like the soft feathery kind, you're gonna struggle with this because they're just gonna make like little eyelashes. I think that's good. It would be a good lesson for in-person, huh? We'll have to do that sometime. Okay, I'll show you the little grassy fan brush, because this would be a good way to use it. Okay, so we'll come over here. We'll start kind of building the ground. I'm going to get some black. My black is almost gone. Okay, so some of you have seen this brush, some of you haven't. Let me see if I can show you. Please focus. Focus, thank you. See how it's kind of broken on the ends? It's very thin and, you know, it's not full like the other one. And when I flick it back, you can see it's made up a bunch of bristles that are quite short and then just slowly get longer. So I'm going to do the same thing with it. Wet it in my jar like I did before. Load it the same way. I'm just going to squidge it in. I'm just using black. and see how it stays like really separated. So it really is the exact same brush as this one. It's just that the ends are much thinner. And I can just kind of come in here and just kind of start, see how it makes like a little grassy type look. Where if I use this one, I'll show you real quick. If I use this one and try and use it in the same way, see how it's more solid. It looks more like a bunch of eyelashes. So I like this one for grass. Just get a few up in here. And I'm kind of putting about 1/2 foot pressure on it. I'm just kind of bouncing it through there. Let's see what else we can do with it.
Did you haircut the second brush?
I did not haircut this one. I had this one made. So this is a little sample that I had made. I did haircut one so that I could show my brush manufacturer what I was talking about, because I was telling him about it on the phone and he was like, I kind of think you're crazy. I have no idea what you're talking about. So I did give one a haircut and I mailed it to him and he's like, oh, I got it. So then he sent me this one. So see there, I just kind of flicked up a little and it gives me some long, thinner grasses. So I really like this brush. I think it's super fun. Let's jam just a little bit of that back in there. That's kind of an empty spot. There. Yeah, you like this one? Yeah, it does kind of look like the haunted mushroom. Okay.
Will you sell them?
I will be selling these if you guys think that it's something that would be helpful to you. If you think that it's a brush that you would like to try, then yeah, I can definitely look at getting them put into production. Okay, now that I can see the whole thing in the camera, I think I might know. Let's kind of take this. Kind of out that way a little, give it some little long grasses. Not too bad. I'm starting to really like this. Okay, I'm just making sure this dark comes down as far as I want. I'm not worried about what that bottom line looks like. Somebody said something about like water or like mist coming off of water. I don't know if I'm going to be able to accomplish mist simply because that's going to require that the black is very dry. Otherwise, if it hasn't like cured, it might lift, and I could probably use a different brush for this part, but I'm being lazy. All right, I'll come do the details on that afterwards. Oh, good. I'm glad you guys are liking this. Good, good, good. I am going to have to let that dry before, well, no, I'm not. Ooh, in fact, I'm not going to, let's try something. This could be the end of the painting, guys, so wish me luck. Okay. I'm going back to my big fan brush, my real fan brush. I wet it. I did kind of pat it on my brush, on my paper towel a little more than I told you to before. And I'm only loading up with matte medium. Oh man, that's hot. You guys can't see that. It's just matte medium. Just loading up the same way, squidge it back and forth. I'm gonna come in here. Let's see if it'll work. Just grab that and drag it down. if this doesn't work, we can take the colors that are already there and put it back over top. If I would have known I was going to do this in the first place, I would have taken a little extra care to not get those weird whoopy bits.
Whoopie bits?
Whoopy bits, that's the new one. Pay attention to what's going on in your landscape. Don't make huge streaks that go all the way to the bottom if what's directly above the streak is short. If directly above the streak is short, then make your streaks short. That's all kind of drying, but I can fake it and add a little bit more paint. I just picked up a tiny, tiny poke of black. I'll just put a little wet black paint there, wipe it off my brush, go back into my matte medium. Okay. Now I'm going to mix back into these first colors because I didn't take it all the way to the bottom. Just get as similar of a color as possible. Tiny poke of white. Matte medium. Let's do a similar thing. We'll start at the bottom and kind of just lightly swoop up. I don't know what I'm doing over here yet. We'll figure that out later. Let's get a little bit of extra white in there. I'm using very light pressure. Yeah, that looks good. A little more matte medium. We'll just let this be kind of abstract. You know, we don't need a horizon in the background over there. I do want to, let's see. I washed my brush off, so this is a clean brush. It's just a little damp with water. I have some little bits there that are kind of there. They weren't smearing together the way I wanted them to. Much better. Let's get a little extra white because we have the moon that would be reflecting in there. More matte medium than that. And we'll just put a little bit in there. Now, if you use too much pressure here, if you plop this brush flat and just, you're just going to paint over all of it. So don't do that. Again, I'm only bending about the top 1/8 inch of the brush. I cleaned it again. And just a streak, a little bit more. That doesn't look quite as good as I thought it might. So, when in doubt, cover it up. When it doesn't look good, cover it up. So I'm going to go back into the black. When in doubt, wipe it out. Thanks, Vince. That's good. I'm going to keep that.
I'm gonna wipe it out, Sense. I'm gonna wipe it out. Scrub it out.
Okay, I'm going to put a bit of land closer to us here. Okay? And let's go back to the grassy fan brush. Load up with some black. We'll get some grasses here, I'm making them a little bit taller because this part is closer to us. So I can use like the corner and kind of flip it up like that. Clean. Let's just get something that's not black. It's got a little white in it, a little matte medium.
Is that black or mixed black?
This, for the ground, is black. And I'm just picking up a color that's a little bit lighter so we can start adding a few highlights in this ground that's closer to us. I'm just kind of experimenting with the brush stroke. Get some more white. I just kind of dunked right into it. Light pressure though, because I don't want big white blobs. Maybe we want a little bit of that back here. Just right here in front of the moon. I have one more idea.
When are you going to wear your Halloween costume?
When am I going to wear my Halloween costume?
Yeah.
Duh, on Halloween.
You have a podcast on Halloween?
I don't know
Take
if
a photo?
Yeah, I'll at least take a photo. I don't know what I'm doing for Halloween, and I think it's apparent that I'm not doing a marathon because I honestly haven't even thought about a marathon. I don't know. Okay, this is my number 3 round. One more idea. This could be bad too, guys. Right. So, man, that is really, really bright. Let's see if I can turn this down a little. You guys still see that? Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna grab a little poke of white, just a tiny bit, and I'm gonna mix it in with my matte medium. Nice and transparent, very transparent. This is almost pure matte medium. All of this back there is dry, it's not mixing in there. And yeah, we're all the way down. Okay. I'm just kind of lightly touching with this super thin mixture. And just tap out any hard lines. Remember, especially when you're using white with matte medium, it's going to be lighter, more transparent once it dries. It looks more opaque when it's wet. I'm trying to decide if this looks anything like what I was going for. I don't think it does. Okay, I gotta listen. Sometimes when I tighten up too much, a little matte medium. I gotta be careful though, because that background's not cured yet, even though it's dry. little extra white. This color's got a little less matte medium, a little more white to it. This doesn't look anything like what I was wanting it to look like.
Is this a ghost?
I was kind of going for it, but it kind of just looks like a smeary white blob
Well, it freaked me out.
instead of a ghost.
They were saying, is that a ghost? And I thought, are they talking about something they're seeing like, behind
Oh, you guys freaked Vince out. So you guys are saying in chat, is that a ghost? And Vince thought that you were asking if there was a ghost in the room here with us. No, this looks horrible.
Or maybe that somebody thought that I was a ghost because they didn't know.
Dry brush. Well, it's not dry, it's clean. Flat foot pressure, I'm just kind of scumbling that out. We'll see what happens. I'm not afraid. Let it kind of trail off.
Ooh, a ghost tree.
Oh, it could be a ghost tree. Thanks, Vince. It's going to be a ghost tree.
And that's the name of the painting.
I'm still using the heavily matte mediumed white. It's very transparent. I'm just kind of scrubbing back and forth and finding a tree. So it's going to look totally different than the other trees because I'm also using completely different techniques. See how I'm just kind of scumbling back and forth? See, I don't do figures real well. Let's get a little more white in there, a little more solid white. Make a couple spots that are quite bright.
White birch tree.
It's not a birch tree, it's a pine tree.
Oh. Could be a white pine tree.
It is a white pine tree.
Does Vince have an issue with raccoons?
Vince loves raccoons.
Raccoons attack.
He thinks raccoons attack. I did actually have a dream the other night, you guys, that I got attacked by a raccoon.
Well, we know someone who was attacked by a raccoon.
We know someone who was attacked by a raccoon?
Yeah.
Who?
Okay.
Oh. Our friend Kate got attacked by a raccoon, apparently.
In San Francisco.
In San Francisco?
Yes.
So that was probably quite aggressive raccoon. A raccoon tried to walk toward me in my backyard one time when I was letting our dog out. And I was like, you go the other way. And he's like, fine. And he did. He went the other way. Okay. What do you guys think of the white tree? Is it silly? I just picked up a little matte medium. I'm going to lay my brush flat, but very, very light pressure. There. Oh, I like that. Just a little bit more white. What are you laughing at,
My
Vince?
man said about her husband going after a gopher. My husband was going after a gopher and he screamed. He said the gopher took the offensive position.
Eileen's husband said that, because I know you guys can't hear Vince, and if you can, I apologize. But
Hey,
Eileen's husband took a defensive position when a gopher, or the gopher took a defensive position when it attacked him.
and he screamed.
And he screamed. Like a girl. Huh, Larry? It is a happy accident, for sure, for sure, for sure. Okay, my brush is clean, it's white. I shook a lot of the water off it. I didn't pick up any matte medium, just like a little blob of white. I want to get some good thick white on here because that's what's going to give us, you know, a good impression that this is a white tree. And maybe it will make everything else look a little bit ethereal and kind of glowy. I like that idea. This white is almost textured. Let me see. See, you can kind of see there's a little bit of texture to this white that I'm laying down. So those of you who, you know, say, why are my white highlights disappearing? You might be spreading them too thin. Get some thick little blobs in there, and then it will appear quite white. Just a little more bright in the reflection. And I got, oh, you didn't see the, sorry. I just put a little extra white in the water, and we have to fix the grass under the tree because I painted out a lot of it.
So Tammy grew up in a place called White Pine, Michigan.
Tammy grew up in White Pine, Michigan.
This is a white pine.
Do they look like this, Tammy? Are they actually white like this? A little bit of grass just right up over the bottom of it so it doesn't look like it's plopped on top of the scene. It can look like it's part of the scene.
No,
They don't look like
it's
this.
a name, I think. I'm guessing it's just a name.
All right. I don't know. What do you guys think? This was not what I had in mind, but I kind of like where it went. I do wish I had put a little bit more, or that I had had the opportunity to plan a little bit more in there, but that moon isn't very bright. Let's get some white little blobular bits in the moon. The same way, solid white, blobular bits.
That's what blobby is.
Blobby bits and blobular are different things.
Oh, okay.
Just doing a little scumbling with my poor little number 3 round, who will also be a filbert, or a fuzzbert someday. Yeah, that's good, huh? Is that good? I think that's good. Just put a couple poking in this tree so you can tell that the moon is shining through that tree. What do you guys think?
I like it.
You like it? Nah, I haven't tried to do any, like, a moon with, like, the real look, the real craters. You guys know me. I'm lazy-ish, and I like to do things a little bit more by feel. Well, that paint is still very wet. Very, very thick. I've thought about it, but then whenever I think about trying a moon like that, I'm like, that feels kind of boring. Like, it doesn't excite me, the thought of doing that. I'm sure I'll try it at some point, but I was actually thinking about that recently, and then I was like, I don't know. You guys love it? Good. I love it too. Oh yes, I'm too busy Not lazy. Too busy to do that. I'm glad you guys like it. I kind of like our little bright white tree. If it's our ghost tree. Yeah, that's what we called this one, huh? Oh, hello, Cindy. I was just thinking about you. I didn't know that you were here. Can I post this on Discord? I will, absolutely. I'm also going to post it on Instagram. I know everybody's like, where's Jane? Why isn't she making videos? Blah, blah, blah. And so I just want to show people that I am still around. And it's possible that I'll make like a time-lapse version of this and post that publicly. But it won't have like instruction or anything. Or very, very little. But yeah, so... But yeah, you guys can watch this whenever you want. Oh, see, Kathy, that's exactly it too. Trying to like shoot for the whole perfection thing. It's just, it causes anxiety. So just don't even shoot for, perfection. Because what is perfection anyway? Anyway, I could, you know me, I could rant on that for a million years. Maybe we'll have like one whole lesson plan that's just me ranting about perfection. When is the grand opening? The grand opening of this building is the 1st. So on November 1st, I think it starts at 4 and goes until 10. So I will be here that whole time and before that. And yeah, it's going to be slam packed in here. Asen has a question. Go for it. I'm sure we'll have plenty of rants. This is Kathy's first time here. Well, welcome, Kathy. We're glad to have you. Thanks, Ma.
She needs to know.
Let's see. I did answer your question, huh, Tammy? Waiting for Asen's question. There we go. One day you showed us how to scribble people in a distance. Yep, I remember that. We did the little scribble people. And Nina's first time. Welcome, Nina. You can't find it anymore? You know what, we'll do, I have my watercolor table set up here. We'll do a watercolor thing very soon. It was in the one that we did with the 4 different ways of doing clouds. Remember that? Pretty sure it was at the end of that video. Oh, Carolyn, that's too bad. That's too bad when people, feel like they have to critique you and tell you what you did wrong. That's, unfortunately, you are well within your right to tell them that doesn't make me feel very good and it discourages me. It makes me, feel this way or, however it makes you feel. And, you have that right to do that. So you should do that. Yeah, the carrot people. Oh, is that when we did it, Tammy, when we painted the little log slice? So that was in the last week or so. Asen, I will find it. I'll scroll through and find it, and then I'll message it to you on Patreon, okay? Yeah, I know you guys were calling them carrot people, and I was like, carrot people? What are they talking about? I forgot that that's what we were calling them, was carrot people. What other questions do you guys have? What else do you want to, is there anything else you want to talk about? Or, oh wow, we did this in an hour and a half or so. That's not too bad. You're welcome. Bye, Brittany. Thanks for hanging out with us. Rhonda, exactly. Now you know who not to show them to. Is it a few days before the haunted house? Okay. I'll run back there and find that, and I'll message it to you. Nobody needs anything else? yeah, I think we should do a watercolor day soon. Let me see what I got going on over this next week or so. I'm going to be doing a lot of cleaning here, and there's still a few paintings that I want to get done before our grand opening. I have finished so many paintings this month, you guys. And I really want to share them with you, but I'm kind of keeping them a little bit hush hush just until the grand opening, so I can unveil like the whole set of them. But I will share them with you. Rhonda has news. What news? Oh, that's awesome, Rhonda. Congrats. I'm so proud of you guys. Whenever you guys get sales and commissions and you get to display your work somewhere, I'm always so proud of you. That's awesome. Oh, I've finished 7 or 8 paintings. Yeah, done. Completely done. No, I'm not going to show them right now. I just said that.
Oh, I did.
You just do your thing.
Oh,
Yeah, so I want to get at least a few more done before the first. So I'm going to be working my guts out for the for the next. Let's see, what's today? What is today? The 19th? Yeah, I've got about a week and a half left, so I should be able to knock out another 5 or 6. Rhonda, we're proud of you. Feel free to, take photos when it gets all set up and post those in the Discord channel. Bye, Sue. Thanks for hanging out with us. All right. I will get a photo of this. I'll post it on Discord. I will update the cover photo for this video, and hopefully it updates that in Patreon. It might not. I'll get it to you guys. What is the painting behind me?
I think it's that.
Oh, that one. Yeah. So, yeah, they asked about that earlier too, and you guys will be seeing that one. I don't know in what capacity you'll be seeing it yet, but you'll see it very soon. I recorded painting that entire thing, so that's coming. So, all right, well, I'm going to let you guys go then, and feel free to give me a shout if you have any questions or need anything, and I will go get this out to you. So I hope that you all have a lovely evening. Vince says goodbye, and he's giving me rabbit ears because he's a class act. Okay, goodbye, everybody.